What changed? This is a question that I believe every good story should answer. Yes, stories have different characters, different contexts or settings, different events. But I believe that all good stories answer the same question. And that question is, what changed? Think about a story that you remember, a film, a book, someone's life. At the end of that story, something was different. Something changed. That's why you probably consider it a good story and you still remember it. Because if nothing changed, it's not a story, it's just information. And that leads to a very difficult thought. Many of us are living lives that feel full, but nothing has changed. So in this video, we'll be exploring that question, what's changed? And what it teaches about how we live and how it reveals if we are actually living. The first point is, change is what makes a story meaningful. If you watched a movie and from start to finish, everything was the same, would you enjoy that movie? Probably not. Because stories are remembered when something or someone changes. A character learns something, they grow, and they confront something that they were avoiding. The same is true with our lives. Being busy is not the same as making progress. You can have full days and still be the same person year after year. So the question isn't, what am I doing with my time? It is, what is this season or time changing in me? Your answer to that question reveals whether growth is actually happening in your life. The second point is, comfort slows down the story. Most of us love stories that are filled with suspense. We believe it makes the story really hit. So I've come to realize that every good story has some level of tension. There is discomfort, there is probably a risk. In your life right now, there is some tension in one area or the other. That tension is what creates a good story, a memorable storyline. It is what makes your story spicy. But many of us are living our lives to avoid discomfort. We stay where we're familiar and we procrastinate on tasks that stretch us. Not because we can't handle it, but because comfort feels safer. But the reality is, comfort rarely produces change. If everything feels easy, you may not be growing. And when nothing is growing, your story stalls. Because you keep avoiding discomfort, you keep avoiding risk, you keep avoiding tension. But I want you to have this in mind. The moment that will shape you the most is the one that you are ultimately trying so hard to avoid. The third point is, you shape your own story through your choices. This is what gives your answer to this question, what changed, real weight. This point, you're not just living your story. You have an active role to play in shaping it, hand in hand with God. You are fully in that picture, and every choice you make is part of the narrative. Choosing to act, choosing to try, choosing to avoid, choosing to build. Whatever it is you decide to do is part of the narrative, is part of your story. Because there is no accident to living a meaningful life. A meaningful life is formed through intentional decisions and actions, often small ones taken consistently over time. So I want you to always remember that you have a role to play in shaping the narrative that is your story, that is your life. So ask yourself, if this season of my life is part of the story, what should be changing? And when you answer that question, choose one intentional decision and action that you must take to make your story better. Because at the end of every season of your life, at the end of every year, the question would be, what's changed? It may be small changes or it may be big changes, but something must have changed. I'm sharing this with you because we all need to live big, full lives. So I want you to watch this video again till you understand it and go ahead and share it with somebody else you know who needs to hear this. And I hope that you will take the intentional decisions and choices that you need to take today. I'll see you in the next video.